Hey, what are you two doing?
My anger from yesterday hadn't cooled off, so my tone was harsher than usual when I confronted them.
Who's moving your stuff out of the room? It's spacious and perfect for Linda's new room, don't you think? Or worse, she whispers home.
They had ignored what I said yesterday and were moving my belongings without asking.
Did you forget what I said yesterday? Stop this nonsense right now!
Do you even understand your place, Sarah? I'm the one paying the rent here, the Phoebe. I tried to have to oppose what I decided.
Auntie John fired back, his voice laced with criticism. Linda, standing next to him, looked at me with a smug smile.
I'm the one paying the bills. You who haven't contributed a single dollar have no say in this. If you can't follow my decisions, maybe we should just get a divorce.
My name is Sarah. I'm a busy 27-year-old corporate worker married for 3 years.
My husband John is the same age as me, 27. He's considered to be a rising star at his company, and he's doing his best to meet those high expectations. We live in an older house that's been fully renovated, almost like new. It's a bit large for just the two of us, but we chose it thinking about a future with kids. Until now, we've had our ups and downs, but always talked things out. I thought we were happily married. That day, I came home later than usual. Later than John, because of work. A woman's coat I didn't recognize was hanging by the entrance.
Like a woman's coat. How could that be? I don't remember anyone saying they'd come over.
Thinking that, I opened the door to the living room.
Ah, Sarah, long time no see. You were late, so we started without you.
In walked Linda, my sister-in-law. She was already pretty buzzed. Linda is John's younger sister, 25 years old. I've never been particularly fond of her, to say the least. In fact, I thought we were done with each other. Linda has always been a bright kid, went to a prestigious university, and now works for a top-tier company. She's married to a coworker, and they're both working professionals. When it comes to education, job scale, and recognition, she's got me beat. Linda seems to enjoy looking down on me. Every time we meet, she manages to slip in some condescending comment. I could respond, but it would just create future headaches, so I usually just let it go. But that only made Linda more brazen. I know it's too late to fix that now. Finally, I had had enough. I cut her out of my life. But that wasn't the only reason. It was also John's behavior towards me. John is usually very considerate and mild-mannered when it's just the two of us. But when Linda is around, he's equally condescending. I don't know if he's showing off for his sister or what, but he starts treating me like dirt. The behavior from John, despite my warnings, never changed. That was also a factor.
Linda, what's up with you working late, Sarah? I always wrap up on time, so I've never had to stay late like you. Staying so late? Are you overwhelmed or are you just slow at work?
I mean, bold from the alcohol. Linda starts talking down to me in a more direct manner than usual. Normally, handling Linda alone is bearable, but my husband John, who is also her brother, is sitting right next to her. Since John is drunk too, he jumps on the bandwagon and joins Linda in belittling me.
Oh, that's a reminder. Not everyone is as efficient as you. We settle, Tathras. Some people have to work twice as hard, just to be average. But not many people are as capable as siblings. We can't judge everyone by our standards.
Oh, you're so right. Sorry, Sarah. I guess I was being a bit too judgmental.
Well, there's no need to apologize, Linda. You are awesome. That's a fact that's breakable in us.
Now, the John standing before me felt like a different person. He was looking down on me together with Linda. I wanted to fire back, but decided to just put on a fake smile to avoid making things more complicated. In the end, Linda left just before midnight. I didn't want to clean up so late at night. After all, the mess was made by John and Linda, not me. But this is my house, so I know I have to do it. John gave me orders as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
Look, it's already late. I'm going to bed. There, you clean all this up.
At that moment, I couldn't hold back any longer. What's with that tune? Why do I have to clean everything up? You and Linda made the mess. You clean it up. Why do you expect me to do it right from the start? Don't you think that's strange? John seemed taken aback by my sudden outburst. But then he became even more stubborn, insisting that I had to clean up. John, I make more money than you. You know, stop giving me lip when you earn less. If you can't listen, then let's just divorce.
Why are you bringing up money? That has nothing to do with this. Clique for listing was kissers by Mrs. Carney's suspicions. I ain't talking about divorce over something like this. John, don't you think him she's saying is crazies?
Jobbers, she's Western, and the rest is clear cantaloupeers. That's your job. Her cap's been a persisting but
He just said what he had to say and went to the bedroom. In the end, I cleaned everything up by myself. The next morning, John was still in a bad mood. I knew that talking would just make things worse, so I avoided any conversation with him. I wanted to make up with John, but we both left the house without reconciling. I ended up coming home late again that day. My steps were heavy as I walked back into the house. Work and home life were both a mess. I needed to resolve things quickly. The situation was only getting worse with time. I couldn't afford to be fighting with John at a time like this.
I'll apologize to John no matter what he says, and we'll make up.
I was focused on just that.
I just there, either way.
As I opened the front door, I saw the same coat from yesterday. I heard familiar voices coming from the living room.
You gotta be kidding me! Shurigan?
As much as I hoped I was wrong, when I walked into the living room, Linda was there. Just like yesterday, she was drinking and making a mess with John.
Ah, Sarah, thank you for working so hard late every day. We started without you because you never seem to come home.
Linda's sarcastic comment, I wanted to make up with John right away, but with Linda being there, that was impossible. I genuinely felt Linda was in the way. Yet no one in the room understood my thoughts.
we started because you never came home, even though we waited for you. They could come home earlier.
Now John was piling on with Linda's sarcasm. I couldn't understand why I was being blamed for something we never agreed upon. Moments ago, I was eager to make up with John, but now my spirit deflated rapidly.
Why am I thinking so much for these people?
This thought began to sprout in my mind.
Oh, by the way, Linda will be moving into our house next month. Let's make room for her by clearing out some of your stuff.
Upon hearing John's words, all my pent-up frustration exploded. The situation was only getting worse with time. I couldn't afford to be fighting with John at a time like this.
I'll apologize to John no matter what he says, and we'll make up.
I was focused on just that.
On his to ask me. I'm home.
As I opened the front door, I saw the same coat from yesterday. I heard familiar voices coming from the living room.
You got to be kidding me. Shurigan?
As much as I hoped I was wrong, when I walked into the living room, Linda was there. Just like yesterday, she was drinking and making a mess with John.
Ah, Sarah, thank you for working so hard late every day. We started without you because you never seem to come home.
Linda's sarcastic comment, I wanted to make up with John right away, but with Linda being there, that was impossible. I genuinely felt Linda was in the way. Yet no one in the room understood my thoughts.
We started because you never came home, even though we waited for you. Did you go home earlier?
Now, John was piling on with Linda's sarcasm. I couldn't understand why I was being blamed for something we never agreed upon. Moments ago, I was eager to make up with John. But now my spirit deflated rapidly.
Why am I thinking so much for these people?
This thought began to sprout in my mind.
Oh, by the way, what you saying? We'll be moving out for house next month. Let's make room for her by clearing out some of your stuff.
Upon hearing John's words, all my pent-up frustration exploded. Upon hearing my pent-up frustration exploded.
On in! What's this all about? Is it the first time I'm hearing about this? Is blister autobrestos?
John seemed startled by my sudden change of attitude, but he quickly reverted to his arrogant demeanor he has around Linda.
Of course it's the first time you've heard it. I'm just telling you now.
And Linda's gonna live here? What about her husband? They're not both moving in, are they?
There has been. Aye. Oh, you mean her ex-husband?
That's white man's the back-end founder. What's going on? Wow! I can't get the full picture. Please see the full picture.
They got divorced recently. Her ex moved out, and she's been living alone. Her lease is up at the end of this month. Isn't it a good opportunity? It's spacious here and we can save on rent.
Fuck, what's Christos? Why didn't you tell me about something so important?
I was rapidly losing faith in John. He planned this all by himself and tells me about it while drunk. While I was confronting John, Linda was watching me with a snide grin.
Just accept it, Sarah. It's already decided.
I want an update.
Rubber stamps, Swizzers. But Sarah, what is the thing?
I say I will accept it. How did that? And I will stop Linda living here with us.
Sarah, what are you talking about?
That's the one who's out of line here is you, John. Proceed.
I glared at John and Linda.
I don't know what the two of you are planning, but I absolutely disagree. Also, you sober answer, think about what you're going to do.
With that, I retreated to a separate room. Instead of making up just like yesterday, I spent the day in a separate room. The next morning, I was awakened by a loud noise.
What's that noise?
Opening my bedroom door and glancing down the hallway, I see John and Linda messing around with my stuff and furniture.
Aye, Chigi-sashim. What do you think you're doing?
Still fuming from yesterday, I confront them more assertively than usual.
We're cleaning your stuff from the room. That room is big and horrific for Linda, don't you think?
Ignoring what I had told them yesterday, they're moving my stuff without my consent.
Did you forget what I said yesterday? Stop nonsense right now.
Do you even know your place, Sarah? I'm the one paying the rent for this house. By right, you have to oppose what I decide.
John retorts in a condemning tone. Next to him, Linda watches me with a smug smile.
I'm the one paying the rent, so you, who hasn't contributed a single dollar, have no say. If you can't listen, maybe we should just get divorced.
First, this has to be a joke. Shinty, what on earth is John talking about? I freeze, not comprehending his words, misinterpreting my silence.
Sarah, do you even understand your position? You haven't paid a dime. Your arguments have no weight. Why did she just give up? You're just making yourself look pathetic.
At this point, any lingering affection I had for these siblings had completely vanished. I don't want anything to do with them anymore. That much is clear to me.
Let's take this conversation to the living room.
I suggest we all move to the living room. At first, they complain, but when I offer to make coffee, they reluctantly follow. I hand them their cups and turn back to John.
I've been saying this since yesterday. I didn't agree to let Lindy in, so please pack her things up right now. We're talking a lot about. I've said this multiple times. I'm the one who pays the rent for this place. It's my house, so you should listen to me. Okay, Despanibur. If you can't, we're getting a divorce. Are you okay with that?
Are you saying you're paying the rent? At your house? Big John, do you really believe that?
Of course. All these free pursers, Chot. What are you even talking about?
Actually, this is my house. I'm the elf grass.
But Musters. And are you lying because you're upset?
Elpit, he shows me. Nelmai's here. To last past bush. I heard of this house from my dad.
What are you talking about?
It's like you're unaware, so let me simplify. This house was built by my dad. My dad's. When he passed away, it became mine. We bought Chris away. In other words, I am this place. Jacob was treasured enough. When he passed away, it became mine. In other words, I own this place.
You're lying, Bagger says. Mish, if your dad built it, why is it so new? It should be all behold, right?
You don't know what renovation means, John. My dad had the house fully renovated before he went to the hospital. That's why it looks so new. I bet you, but I never mentioned it to you because it was before we got married. And they're confident attitudes from before. The gauze come Streiten, replaced by silence. I'm not done talking. I've come this far. Why would I even play the master? Whether they get it on or not, I don't care. But I know from the Ichmel,
Even if you're paying rent, this is still my house. And
John, you're not paying any rent. But you're paying all our living expenses as a couple.
what understood is me. Bottom line.
How would I buy at this point? Remember you left all the housing paperwork to me. Oh, you didn't even know, did you? Did you know the average rent in this area? You're just embarrassing yourself. Pashoy, ask, just embarrassing yourself. If that's the case, I'll start paying the rent from now on. I'll be risk happy. I can afford that, Mr. Unemployed. Buy on the touch. Unemployed, thirsty to rate. What are you talking about? Miss John, it seems you've been making some bad choices. Big losses, right? Chris might have thought you've been hiding it, but your company do you sorry about that? You'll likely hear from them after the weekend. They probably be thought nobody knew. John is clearly rattled by what I've said. No, Don's dumped. Why, it's Masani. Why do you know this? He's so shaken he can barely speak. Oh, I kept it a secret, but your company is actually owned by my relatives. They've been lenient, but you've pushed too far. Even the company has decided they can't keep you. Or also, they want me first because it affects me too. As John had become uncharacteristically quiet, Rose Brenda, who was listening to my story, was visibly shaken. Hold on a minute, Racers. Do you read? Are you saying John's getting fired? Is house really Sarah's? Then we're supposed to live starting next month. I already canceled my lease, you know? 우리 하왔는데. It's unclear whether Linda was directing her questions at me or John. But she was clearly stunned. Must be having a hard time grasping the situation. This is my house, Hasperesh Rashtus. I decide who lives here. At least for now, I but to stay. I can't live you anymore, John. Let's go ahead with the divorce you suggested. Or Kraber. Do you cheat that back now? And just to be clear, I have no intention of living with you either, Linda. Wow. Where you live for the next month is none of my concern. Action. Actually, just stop involving me in your lives.
I wasn't sure if they were really listening, but I had said all I needed to say. But from here on, it's their problem. I've nothing to do with it. So put my things back where they were. Once that's done, pack your stuff and leave this house. I don't want to see either of your faces anymore. By the end of the day, I had kicked both of them out of the house. The last time I saw their faces. After that, I left all the procedures to my lawyers to avoid any complications. John didn't make any fuss, probably realizing he had no choice. Thanks to that, the divorce went smoothly. I heard they both moved back to their parents' homes. John ended up with a mountain of debt between the settlement he owed me and damages from his company. He seems to be working day and night to pay it off. As for me, I am enjoying a relaxed life in the house I inherited from my dad. I plan to savor this freedom for a while,